Aloha friends, welcome back. Today we're here on the property and we wanted to take you around and show you around our plants and our trees. Last time we showed you around, it was about 3 months ago, and since then we have had so much progress. Some things are doing very well, some things are not so much, and we just wanted to show you what we've been up to, what we've been planting, how things are growing. So come with us and take a look. So here we have our little food jungle. It's a little place that we didn't expect anything would grow, but actually this is probably the best spot on the property because when we planted like these papayas, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, Ryan? Yes, they just shoot up, and now if you can take a look, they have flowers. And I just took one off. They have flowers, and I'm very excited that soon we'll have some fruit. We also have some turmeric growing here, and that is turmeric that was here before we bought this property. And if you want to see what turmeric flowers like, it's very pretty.
So these turmerics were sort of volunteers that came up from the farmers who came before us purchasing this property.
We actually need to take some of them out. So I was going to show you what it looks like. It's just starting to form little gingers or little turmeric bulbs, but it's edible. And I wanted to mention why this particular area is so good for growing that we overlooked is because this area was never bulldozed. The rest of our property was bulldozed, to have a house pad, to have waterways, so it had to be shaped a certain way. But this area had actually a huge stump, if you remember, and it had a huge tree that we cut down. And so around it, we just had grass growing like crazy, and we were just not sure what to do with all of it. But then we realized why the grass is growing. It's because it's amazing soil. And so when we dug in with our shovel, what we found, there's so much life. There's so many bugs, so many microorganisms that anything we put in here is just growing so well. We also have a lilikoi plant right here that kept being overtaken by grass. And so we had to put this black weed barrier here. And once we did that on this side and the other side, this plant took off, and now it's going for maybe 25 to 30 feet, spanning this way and that way. And we've noticed that since then, we've had a lot of flowers. Look, did you see that butterfly? A lot of flowers, and these flowers will become delicious fruit. So this vine looks super healthy, beautiful, and we're just so happy. We also planted these huge trees. These are not trees, these are actually beans growing on bushes. But because the soil here is so good, these shoot up so high. I don't know how high is it, but
Probably like 11 feet.
yes, and these are providing shade for some of the plants that Ryan planted here.
So certain tropical plants require a little bit of shade in their infancy. And so this is a fruit tree. This is called Chempadec, and it really needs some shade in its early growth times. So we have the pigeon pea providing the shade, and it's really doing very well. And so we're thankful for that. But this little area, it's so small and yet so productive. These papayas, for example, have outgrown papayas that were 3 or 4 times their age on the property. And so we're really very thankful. And so a lot of things depend on the quality of the soil. And so that's why we would encourage others to do what we have done, which is plant the similar things in different areas of your property. So right across from this area that we just spoke of, we have more plants that are doing quite well in a similar environment. And so we have quite a bit of our Goldfinger bananas. They're growing big, and I would estimate, I don't know, probably within the next 3 months we're going to have fruit on these, and so that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
And our moringas that we've planted here in this environment are doing so much better than in the other bulldozed area. And so these are growing really well, and we're planting some more week by week. Yes. We've recently we're transitioning this area away from soursop to mangoes, and so we have a number of mangoes that we've planted. But you can see this was a seedling soursop that we planted that was quite small. I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months ago we planted this, and it's growing quite well. And one of the things I love about soursop is that it can produce food in a very short period of time. Yes. And so, like if you, with really good care, you could get fruit within a year of planting it out in the field. And so this one's doing really well.
Now I wanted to show from here, there are 3 plants here, 1, 2, and 3. They are the tallest. Let me adjust my camera. There you go. And then you can see the other ones are kind of shorter. So this tells you that there's a difference between the soils. You see how well these are doing? And these were planted pretty much the same time, but they're not as tall. Same thing with soursops. This one is the best one, and the other ones you see are much smaller.
And that's because those areas with the smaller plants, there was much more scraping with the bulldozer. So this area has made some progress as well. You may remember the vetiver grass, which we're using for erosion. That has grown quite tall. We have a lot of kabocha squash. We've recently planted some more pigeon peas. These are the moringas that didn't perform quite as well, but they're still doing okay.
We planted them about 9 months ago, and some of the ones that we planted here are definitely surpassing.
Yeah, that was planted probably somewhere around 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's much bigger than that which was planted around 9 months ago. The ground started off maybe somewhere around here, and the bulldozer took something like, I don't know, maybe like 4 feet off of this corner. And so as a result, there's subsoil, not really so much topsoil. And I think that's dramatically impacted the growth. Here we have some cassava that we recently planted, I don't know, a few months ago, and it's doing quite well. And so in, I forget how many months, but it's going to provide us some big tubers that we can cook, like potato, something like that.
Yeah. Here's some pigeon peas in their young stage right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think this might be about a month old.
Yeah, we're kind of making a living wall here to have privacy and also wind protection.
Yeah.
And you can see it definitely looks like, it's starting to look like a wall.
And take a look down here.
Oh yes, sugarcane.
This is the sugarcane. If you saw in the last video,
They probably couldn't see anything.
well, so in the last video, the sugarcane basically looked like this. It just looked like tall grass. This is weed grass, right?
Yes.
But now look at it. In just about 3 months, it's quite big, and the canes are starting to form. And so we've got, I don't know, 20 other plants or so that we're going to be planting another row just behind this. So we're excited to see that growing, and our young palms are looking a lot healthier and stronger. And so things are just coming together. So this is one of those pigeon peas. This is a branch that somehow the wind broke off. But this, even though it just looks like trash, this is really fertilizer. And so there's a lot of minerals and nutrients that plants appreciate. And so we're gonna basically sort of chip this up or cut this up and put it around the base of other trees and plants. And this will provide a good bit of nutrition for them. Okay. Another really valuable green, it doesn't look especially impressive, but it is very nutritious and very health-giving, is katuk. And so this is something that we add to soups and stews and beans and all that.
You can eat it raw.
You can, and it tastes like sweet peas. So it's really tasty, the leaves. We eat the leaves. And look at how nice and healthy this papaya is. This one's even younger than the others. I think this might even be 2 months, with nice flowers that are just forming. So soon we're gonna have some papayas, and that's gonna be great.
Can't wait.
Here we've got one of our grafted macadamia nuts, our chocolate sapote or black sapote. This is a new tangerine that we've just planted. This one's called clementine. We like growing tangerines, and lots of them, because in the winter time when some of the ultra tropicals are not producing, citrus is really just really providing a lot of food. Here we have a seedling Rollinia. And this is one of my favorite fruits. We've got 3 of these so far. And I have a friend who has a variety that are giant. They're just absolutely immense. And he has promised me that very soon he'll have seeds for me, and then we will grow some of our own giant Rollinias as well.
Fun.
This is the Anna apple that makes an appearance in each of our videos. It's kind of hanging in there. It's gotten quite a bit of rose beetle damage, but we'll keep working with it, and hopefully it'll work out in the end. Another one of those beautiful Rollinias.
Yeah, this one looks beautiful.
This is Ras sapote, which is a relative of the egg fruit.
Nice.
That's a fruit we enjoy. This is a Meyer lemon. Almost all of these citrus come grafted and ready to bear fruit. We just try to pick off the flowers and the little fruits just because we wanted to put energy into growing bigger. But soon This will provide us with lemons year-round. We've got a tangelo, Mineola tangelo. And one little problem we've had is we've been dealing with some ants. And so we're still working with those, and those have kind of set back the trees, but we're making some progress. So we keep working at it. Fairchild tangerine, another Mineola tangelo, because you can never have too much. But if you see this here, you see this black, that's called sooty mildew. And that is a sign of ant infestation. And so we'll keep working at that. Here's another one of our Meyer lemons.
Now take a look at this grass.
Yeah,
This is a sea of grass.
So this grass, I mowed this grass this week, and unfortunately I struggle to keep up with it.
Like seriously, look, guys.
But I will tell you, if you do not mow this grass in an area that has good soil, this grass will get 11 feet tall. It will. And
but guess what? This is where we're going to be planting stuff next, because all this is a good soil for sure.
yes, definitely.
And here we come onto our food islands. And they have grown quite a bit.
Yeah, do you remember what this island looked like a few months ago? Look how big our Tongan spinach got.
Yep.
So this is one of the greens that we love to eat and cook, and we really enjoy, and it just grows so prolifically. So we are very happy with how it is producing here. Here in the center of each of our food islands, we have bananas. We have some little papayas. Here you can see some of the stalks of the Tongan spinach.
It's big.
Yep. So we have turmeric and lots of more taro and other things. We've got some pineapples here doing pretty good.
Yeah, this one has all the pineapples around it.
This is a younger food island.
Definitely.
And so you can see that everything is quite a bit shorter, but before long, it'll get just like the other one.
Yeah, we have some cranberry hibiscus also here.
That's the purple.
We've never really tried it, but our father-in-law says it's delicious, so we wanted to try it out. It grows well.
Yeah, look at this. It has kind of an interesting flower and leaf, and
yeah.
And our pineapples, we bought a lot of these starts, these tops, and they're adapting very well. Okay, so this is another one of our chimpadecs. We have several of these growing from seed.
Okay, so we have the smallest island here, and this one was supposed to be my island for all the spices for cooking and herbs. And we have lots of basil here. We have some rosemary here, and here we have some Malabar spinach. It's always good to have some new food.
Yeah,
ready.
And it's important to rely on what grows well in your area. And so there's a lot of tropical things that maybe we're not especially used to, but you know, it's important to get as much food that will grow itself with as little effort on your part. And so some of these things just do incredibly well, so we'll plant them and give them a try.
I have some sorrel plants, but they're not doing as well right now, probably because they need more shade. We also did some tomatoes, and we had quite a bit of harvest of tomatoes. They did very well, and then they looked like they were dying, but take a look, Ryan. It looks like they're coming back, and there's another harvest coming back.
I think they might not have had enough water. And of course, on this property at the present, we don't have any water source, and so that can be an issue at times in the summer.
Look at all these tomatoes.
That's great. Tomatoes in October.
Yes, and this island kind of had a lot of changes because I had 2 big clumps of lemongrass, and it basically took over the entire island. We had to dig them out because some of the herbs were dying. And then we had a miracle fruit inside for a centerpiece. We took that out because it was just too crowded, and we put this Brazilian cherry bush, which we really like. It comes with cute little cherries that look like Bing cherries, and I think it's going to be a perfect place for it. Okay, so here right next to the islands, we thought it would be a perfect place for a canopy. We needed a canopy for a long time because a lot of times it's either too sunny here or too rainy, and us and our kids especially need some shelter. So we placed a 20 by 20 canopy That was quite an adventure putting that up, but we did it with God's help. We put a little bit of a, what do you call it, weed barrier underneath so the weeds won't grow there. And now we have a little picnic table there. And so when we come here, the kids can have a safe spot there to play and do their activities while we work. So this is a peanut butter fruit tree. Am I right, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
And look, guys, we have our very first fruit right here. How exciting is that? I have never tasted one. Have you tasted one, Ryan?
No, I haven't had the opportunity.
Here's another one.
But I'm looking forward to it.
It's doing great, and there's a lot more flowers here too. Okay, and on the other side, come this way. Hi, guys.
Hi.
On the other side, we have our famous mulberry. Mulberry that we bought, and it was this little. Remember? We got it by mail, and now it's, well, it's taller than me, except we actually trimmed it a little bit. It was taller than that. And there's a lot of new growth, and we're hoping to see some mulberries soon. So you see some bricks here laying around, and these are for our next project, which is garden beds. We'll stack 2 of them on top of each other, and we'll do like 4 by 8 maybe, and we'll do about 12 of them here between these bananas and the canopy. And this will be our garden area for vegetables. So here you see the bananas of different kinds, a little bit of tea leaves for color. If you come a little further, well, you see some of our podocarpas growing here. Just wanted to show real quick. This will be a hedge here, but we also stuck some pigeon peas in between just to get a little bit more of a hedge faster. So hopefully that will work, because we definitely need privacy here on this side. And on this side here we have some bananas that actually came from bananas you saw in the beginning of the video. These are the little keikis, or little babies from them. And these are the original cassavas that, if you have been long enough with us, you've seen that we basically planted these from little sticks that the friend gave us, like a big stick of these, and we cut them up. So these are maybe 9 months old, and they all have flowers now, which I'm not sure. I'm not an expert,
Well,
but I think
they're pretty much ready to harvest.
They're getting ready to harvest the root, yeah. So this is another keiki, grew really fast. More cassava, so we have kind of a wall of cassava and bananas here. But take a look over here. Some of these papayas have been planted, what, 9-10 months ago?
Yep.
And if you look at some of them, I mean, some of them look really, really bad, and some of them actually died.
You know, despite our best efforts, certain things do not grow here. And so we're thankful that we're attempting to grow in several different areas, and some places are going to fail and some things are going to succeed.
Okay, and so from here we'll go on to our larger orchard.
All right, so here's another area where we're working on bananas. And these have done quite a bit better than the last hilltop spot we just were at. And so these ones were planted more recently, but they're doing really well. I don't remember here, I think we have, gosh, I forget, maybe like a dozen different types of bananas. But these are a bunch of different ones. Some of these are cooking bananas, some of these are dessert bananas, all kinds of bananas, different kinds of papayas. We've recently branched out into getting some papayas from Asia. And so this one is called Sun Gold, and it looks like it's doing really well here, so I'm really happy about that. I have, these ones are Bella, and these ones are sort of doing so-so. In the areas where the soil is really good, we don't have to put any commercial fertilizers of any kind. We just use chicken manure and compost and mulch, primarily mulch and chicken manure. So in some areas when things start to struggle, we have found that they need some inputs of commercial fertilizer, at least temporarily. So we've had to commercially fertilize some of these papayas, but these bananas are all 100% organically grown, and they're looking pretty good. Here you can see our breadfruits coming along. In fact, one of our 3 breadfruits now has flowers, so that's kind of exciting. We are trying to maximize growth, so we're gonna pick off any fruits at this stage, but it's exciting to see that these plants are showing signs that they're ready to produce some food for our family.
Yeah, by the way, this is the kind of grass we have here if you don't mow it.
Yeah.
And the reason we have these is because these are actually tree holes and they're like mounds of dirt. So it's kind of hard to mow around them.
Well, it's kind of impossible, but
Yeah.
we do put the brush blade on the weed eater and go around once in a while, but it grows up quite quick. And so really the only remedy is to get your holes filled in, plant your stuff, and then deal with it.
Which we've been working on, and we actually cleaned up a lot of piles around our trees that we planted, and things are looking way better and much easier to take care of.
So here's our abu, the Z2 abu from Australia.
One of my favorites.
Yep, it's looking really good. I'm very happy with how that's coming along.
And it keeps putting on little flowers and fruits, and we keep picking them off because it's a little too young.
And of course, that's one of the great advantages of buying grafted trees, is that they will produce in a much shorter period of time. So generally speaking, you know, it's worth the effort or the cost of buying a grafted tree as opposed to planting seedlings. We've got another soursop here from a different source. In fact, that reminds me, I've got a very special soursop that we're going to be getting in the next month. I'm excited about. Generally here on the island, soursop is only grown from seed, but it is possible to graft, though it's almost unheard of. And we were able to obtain a grafted soursop tree that originates from Brazil called Morada. And so we're excited that we're going to pick that up here in the next month. It's supposed to be, the fruit's supposed to be really huge.
So some of our trees are still in cages, and they will probably stay so until the next year at least. They're being protected from bugs and just some of our trees that really need help.
Now this was a really tiny tree when we got it, and it's looking really nice. This is a Chempadec, and so the name escapes me at the moment, but this one comes from Malaysia.
Okay.
And so I'm excited to have that. Some of these trees are pretty rare. I think this was the first large tree we planted. This was from our video on how we plant fruit trees, and another Samoan breadfruit. Looking
it was
good.
struggling a little bit, but it's getting better now.
Yeah, one thing that we were surprised to find that a lot of our trees, even with proper watering, etc., had a little bit of a struggle during their adaptation phase. But we've, kept at it. We don't just plant a tree and leave it. We work on it, mulch it, fertilize it, give it special treatments if it needs it. And we were able to turn this one around, and now it's looking beautiful. This is probably Marina's favorite avocado. This is a Hawaiian variety called kahalu'u.
Kahalu'u, that's right.
And so, as I said before, when you have your favorites, we don't just grow one.
You grow three.
We're starting with two, and then we'll graft off of this and make some more probably. But this is a young Malama avocado. We're growing, gosh, I don't remember, maybe like 8 different varieties right now of avocado, so we can have consistent year-round production. And so our goal at the present is to have 2 varieties bearing every month of every year. And so that's what we're able to do if you get varieties that have staggered harvests.
This is my favorite.
This is another kahalu'u. This is the first avocado we planted here on the property, and it's looking nice.
Yeah.
It's starting to take shape. It's starting to get bigger.
It's a funny shape. They always grow this way though. They don't want to grow straight.
This is a hybrid jackfruit Chempadec variety. It's called China. And so this is looking quite healthy and good. I think that there's a lot of good microbial life in this decomposing mulch down there, and I think that's helping. As you may remember, we've dug all these holes. This is basically useless dirt. This is subsoil. This is not what you want to be planting your trees in.
You can tell nothing grows on it.
It's kind of red, and you look, it's here for months, and
yes.
What weeds are growing there? None.
Nothing.
Nothing. You don't want to be putting that back in the hole. This is our Tai Long Kong, which is related to Lanzones. And
looks good.
Yeah, this is looking healthy.
Oh, this is the newest one.
This tree I planted last Sunday.
Avocado, right?
This is a hulumano. It's not looking beautiful just yet, but it will be soon.
It needs some love.
And this kind bears in the summer, and that's one of the beautiful things about this one is that there's most of the avocados don't bear in the summer, and this is one of two that we have that does, which will fill an important gap for year-round avocado production. This is a fruit I really enjoy. We have two of these. This is the Mame Sapote, and it's looking great. It's making good progress. In fact, if you look on the bottom on this side, you can see that it already has, it has a lot of little flowers down there. And it was, I believe, actually, now that I look at it, I believe it's actually setting little fruits down there.
Wow.
This one is unique in that it takes, gosh, I'm trying to remember, is it 3 years to bear fruit? And so you'll have 2, or I believe it's 3 years of fruit on the tree at the same time. So it takes multiple years to actually get ready and ripe. Here's our achachairu, or as the Australians call it, achacha.
It's growing out of the cage.
Yeah, we got a couple of those, grafted ones. More Rollinia, it's looking good. This is Yamagata avocado. And
looks nice.
Yeah, I can see some evidence of the lace bug. Look at that right there. That's a big pest that we got to deal with, but a little bit of Castile soap and water, and that will take care of these guys.
Yeah, the new leaves look good though.
Yeah. Okay, Haitian star apple.
Boy, what a beautiful day. Look at that ocean, so blue.
It is. It's turning out to be really nice weather. I'm thankful. Last Sunday was a little bit wet.
A little bit? It was the whole day wet.
So it's nice to work in a more pleasant environment. This is the Kaimito, or the Haitian star apple. This is a purple one. It's getting bigger.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
It's encouraging to see progress.
Yes.
That's what kind of keeps hope alive, is you got to have progress.
Even mentally, it's really healing for me personally, and I know for Ryan too, to see similar or the same fruit trees and plants on our property, and it's just, I don't know, mentally very healing.
Yeah, you got to remember that, you know, for years we were able to just walk amongst our own trees, pick fruit all year long from these same varieties.
Yep.
And then all that was taken away, and it was just like the store that we had to go buy, you know, very poor quality produce compared to what we were growing before. So this is the beginnings of restoration.
Yes. Oh, where is the fruit that we saw?
Well, I saw some
or
flowers.
Oh, there, it fell off.
Oh,
Look.
okay. There's a flower that fell off, and I'm sure there's
another
some.
one right there.
There's another one. Yep.
Right there.
So that's a good sign.
Yep.
Here's another kind of jackfruit. This one unfortunately had its struggles with spider mites and other things, but with a little bit of wettable sulfur spray, this thing has returned to health.
It came back.
We had to cut this back because it was dieback, but hey, it's coming to life now. So that one's going to be all right. This is a Charwell avocado, and it was in a cage for a while. We paint these for some sunburn protection, and it's doing so-so. I mean, it's doing fine, but I think given the winter months and the increased rainfall, this is going to do much better, and I think by spring it's going to look really good. Maybe 2 weeks ago or less, we planted this Kaimana lychee, and so this is going to work out just fine. Looks good. This one is a longan. This one is a BQ longan.
That's my favorite too.
I really like these. Now notice this tree looks pretty good compared to this one over here, which is the same exact thing. And the reason being is the cage really helps. You see what's happening is as soon as this tree brings out its growth, the rose beetles emerge and they just eat it to shreds. And so we're gonna have to put a cage around this, otherwise it will likely die. So once we do that, it will sort of need some months to heal, and then it will probably be stable enough, you know, after about 6 months that we can take the cage off again and let it grow on its own.
Okay, would you like to show us your durian orchard?
Sure. So we have about 5 of the 12 durian varieties planted so far. Off in the distance, you can probably hear the buzzing of the brush blade on the still weed eater. We have quite a bit of a overgrowth of tall grass on our entry road, and my dad is kind enough to be assisting us today, and he's out there working on clearing the entry because, you're not actually able to drive in on the asphalt driveway. You have to drive on the side on the grass because this tall cane grass is really leaning over and blocking the roadway. So all these little circles of overgrowth, these are areas where we're going to be planting more durians. And again, we've got those piles of relatively terrible subsoil
Yep.
that nothing really wants to grow in. If you look around these durians, my goodness, you can see I need to bring the brush blade out here. It's like they're getting swallowed.
Let's peek in here. It's
Hey,
looking okay.
that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Could use a little more cow manure.
Yeah, it needs to be a little more green probably.
We've got lots of those. Here's another one in here, kind of swallowed up.
Yeah, it's hard to take care of such a big property, especially when you don't live here.
Yeah, and when you work more than full time.
Yes.
Okay, this is one that's been a little bit of a slower grower,
Okay.
but I recently took all this apart and re-manured it and everything, so
Looks good.
I can see some little leaf buds, so I'm hopeful that in the next couple months we'll see some progress. A lot of this stuff takes time and patience and continual work, you know?
Yes.
So here was a huge pile of that junk soil, and thankfully we were able to cart it away. So this is another area where we're planning on planting a row of trees. You can see this weed barrier down on the side to sort of control the growth of all this inward. This is sort of a little gulch going down into a seasonal stream in a culvert. Notice here the way things grow. Look at how this grass is quite a bit taller than that grass. That's actually an indication of the soil fertility. So the grass on this side is even better than the grass on that side because they're the same amount of time between mowings.
Okay, we'll go peek what Dad is doing. Well, friends, this is it for our tour of our property. Maybe in a few months we'll show you more progress of what's happening here, and maybe we'll even break some ground for our house.
Yeah, so in addition to what we've shown you today, we're actively working behind the scenes to get ourselves established here on this property. So we're working actively in the development of our house plans, getting the permits that are necessary, lining up some contractors to do some work for us, and we've begun purchasing key components for this house project. So parts of our solar system and our water system and all of those things we're actively working on. So we're making progress day by day, week by week, as I'm sure you are doing the same. So we want to encourage you in your own country living journey. We're thankful that you joined us here today. So please tune in next time. And until then, God bless and aloha.